great. My wife always accuses me, she says, when I die, they're going to put my ashes out on the baseball field. I said, well, that's one way of doing it, I guess. She said, anytime I want to find you, I know where to find you.
This is an interview with Howard Roey, R-O-E-Y, at his office at North Campus. And I see I like to sometimes describe what I see in here. I see Mid-Florida 1986 champion, one banner on the wall. I see Mid-Florida 1985 champion on the wall. I see use it or lose it on the wall, a good slogan. And you can't swing the bat if you don't hit the books. Now, these awards, these Mid-Florida, are those baseball championships?
Those are our baseball championships.
Okay.
We have a couple more that are supposed to be made for us, but
Right. Okay. Is that okay?
That's no problem.
Right.
That we don't have up, and we don't have them really place to put them right now. The other thing I guess you forgot to mention is our plaques or trophies that you didn't see that was above you. That we're very proud of, our national trophies and our state trophies and conference. So we're very proud of the fact of what we've accomplished.
So give me 5 major trophies or 5 major awards.
Well, I'd have to say 1987 probably would have to be our biggest year in accomplishments. That's the year that we won our Mid-Florida Conference. We won our State Region Florida Conference. We won the Southeast District, and we finished 3rd in the nation at the Junior College World Series in Colorado. And was ranked 3rd in the nation that year also by our 3rd place finish. That would have to be probably the milestone of our program so far.
Okay. You finished what is that
National Junior College World Series.
And that's
held in Grand Junction, Colorado. I guess the past 25 years. But it's the ultimate in junior college baseball. Matter of fact, we've had several people from the 4-year colleges that have told us the best tournament they've been to in hospitality and organization has been the Junior College World Series. The Division I at Omaha that gets a lot more recognition because it's on television, of course, is the big one, but people who know say ours is the best. And of course, we're a little biased and prejudiced. We like to think it is the best. The country is magnificent.
Is that junior colleges from all around the
That's
United States?
Junior colleges. They take the junior college, community colleges, and each area is divided up into districts. Florida, Georgia, and Alabama is like our Southeast district. And whoever comes out of this district represents the Southeast district, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. So they have equal representation, 10 teams for the whole United States, with the exception of California. And they do not send anybody. They have chosen.
Yeah, like in track,
they have their own. They choose not to compete on the national level like that. Apparently, a number of years ago, they had some falling out with the national office. So, but everybody else is represented.
Is Canada in there too?
No. This is just the United States. Now, the last several years, we've been fortunate in that our champions or our high finishers have all come from either the middle part of the state of Florida to the northern part. In 85, Santa Fe Community College finished 4th. In 86, Brevard Community College finished 2nd. In 87, we finished 3rd. Last year, Hillsborough Community College won the national tournament. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Coach Roy.
Howard, what are some? How do you see your kind of players you're getting over the years? These
Most definitely, most definitely. The people that we are bringing into our program now are what we hopefully call the true student athlete. They're students first and athletes second. And we try and really tell them that, the odds of them making it to the major leagues are 1 in 45,000. They need to have the education. That's what they're here first for. And of course, we try and promote that in terms of we send around progress reports. We have study halls. Next year, we're going to try and go to mandatory study halls, 2 hours, Monday through Thursday from 6 to 8 o'clock in the evening. We go up in the library. And this will be for everyone except sophomores who have a 3.0 average or better. And of course, I promote it also. I tell everybody at our fall meeting, anyone who makes a B average or better on that particular term or term that they're in school, we take them out for state dinners. And we've always been fortunate that, I guess it's like a bribe, but we've been fortunate. We usually have around 7, 8 kids that have B averages or better. We're very proud of our kids that we've had in the program that have gone on to 4-year colleges and universities. They are in demand coming out of our program. And I'd have to say we probably have a very high percentage that will graduate each year. Our sophomores graduate and go on. Whether it's to play ball or not, it's another thing, but at least they're graduating. So I like the program like that where we're concentrating on academics. There's a lot of times that we know that there's some individuals that would not be here because of our baseball program. Baseball is first, and education is a byproduct. But they know if they don't go to class, if they don't maintain their academic requirements, for us, they have to have a overall 2.0 average. With the time they put in our program and, of course, academics, they have to, most of them do a better job than the 2.0. But a lot of times we are cognizant that, yes, we come because they're number one program. And I think the nice thing about it, personally, I would have to say our program of the 80s has been the program of the state. We're the only community college in the state that has been to 7 consecutive state region tournaments. We've won the tournament. We finished runner-up. We developed that consistency.
7 consecutive
state region tournaments since '83, and we're finishing out the '80s as the team of the '80s. I would like to think that's what I've been calling us, the team of the '80s, or the program of the '80s. And we're very proud, and we have that tradition. And of course, 2 weeks ago, we were notified that we were ranked number 1 in the nation. And this past week, we were continued to be ranked number 1 in the nation, which is a first for us because we have never been ranked number 1. In '87, the highest we got was 3rd in the nation.
You haven't been to the World Series?
We've been to the World Series in '87, right?
But if you're ranked number 1 this year,
this is just on the initial poll, just on right. We have to. I wish it was our last poll in June that we were ranked number 1. Then that would have told us that we had gone through our season, met the challenges of playing in the state, district, and national, and had finished number 1 overall. But this is more of a paper poll put out by the NJCAA based on just solely record right now.
When will you go to the Nationals this year then?
Well, that remains to be seen. If we play up to our capabilities, if we play like we can, if we have a little luck, we could end up in the Junior College World Series again. Hopefully that will be a reality that we can achieve. But we have some obstacles that we know that are ahead of us, some challenges that are ahead of us.
Let's get that on tape. Dr. Spence is coming out to...
That was a phone call from
Linda,
and Dr. Spence is having a meeting out here on Wednesday with Allied Health and would like to attend the ball game Wednesday afternoon. And if his schedule permits, he will be here.
Who will you be playing?
We will be playing Santa Fe Community College. That will be the last ball game of the season for us before we go to our state tournament in Winter Haven, May 6th through the 10th.
And it's based on how you do in Winter Haven, whether you can go on.
Right. Yeah. In Florida, we're divided into 4 geographical locations. And each geographical location, like the Panhandle, has 4 baseball teams. Our conference is called the Mid-Florida Conference. We have 7 teams. The Suncoast Conference runs from Melbourne to St. Petersburg, coast to coast, east coast to west coast. They have 6 teams. And then you have the southern tip of the state, which is the Southern Conference, includes the Miami-Dades, the Palm Beaches, the Indian Rivers. And what we do is we take, at the end of the season, we take the champion and runner-up from each conference, and we go to our state tournament. So out of the 24, 25 community colleges that play in Florida, we take the top 8 teams.
And Melbourne Conference, the Southern Conference, the Panhandle Conference.
Mid-Florida Conference.
That's what you do.
That's what we're in. And then we'll play a double elimination tournament to find out who the top team in the state of Florida is, the state championship. And then our state champion plays the Georgia and Alabama state champion. That's the Southeast District.
That's your district.
Right. And whoever wins that, whoever wins and goes to the Southeast District knows they're 3 wins away from going to the National Junior College World Series. So that's a dream that everyone has to, participate and go into a World Series. I know a lot of my colleagues have been in coaching as long as I have, some shorter, some longer, and not gone to a World Series, taking a team to a World Series. That's the ultimate. Of course, winning it, I guess, would be the ultimate.
Let's talk some more about the caliber of students you're getting over the years. Are you implying that maybe in 1970 you got somebody that was more just baseball oriented?
I think in the early days when we first started our program, 1969, 1970 was the first baseball team. Our kids were maybe more interested in the baseball than the academics. And we knew sometimes the ends justifies the means and the means justify the ends. They knew that they had to go to class, they had to maintain a certain grade point average if they wanted to play baseball. And that was, to some of them, a necessary evil. They were here because of baseball. They weren't here because, hey, I'm going to get an education. So sometimes I'm saying, well, the ends justify the means. They get an education, and then along the way they're saying, hey, I've got to be very talented. I've got to have some breaks to even make it. And when we give statistics that, how many make it to the major leagues, then they start looking realistically. Well, I was a very good high school player, but maybe a mediocre junior college or college player. I better get my education. I think one of the best things that happened to us this season was opportunity of playing the Jacksonville Expos, the AA professional team down at Wilson Ballpark. And it opened up a lot of our guys' eyes because I think anyone that comes into a program such as ours has in the back of their mind, they would love to have an opportunity to play professional baseball. And everyone harbors that secret desire to, make it to the major leagues. I think it opened up some eyes because they saw how talented these people were, how much work they put in it, how dedicated they were, and yet they're only in a AA. And we pointed out only 1 or 2 of those would make it. And we had a couple of them come up to us after the game and say, Coach, I can see why you say, you better hit the books out there. And that's one of the reasons we have the slogan is, you can't swing the bat if you don't hit the books. I think that's very apropos. We don't let them get out there and participate if they don't hit the books. So our programs evolved where we may have not had the best student athletes that we could find. But now, just as everybody else, when we go out recruiting, and we recruit, I guess 95% of our kids are local kids, we want to find out what their grade point average are, what their class rank is. Besides performing on the diamond, do they perform on the field? And we think, both of them go hand in hand. And we've been fortunate in the last several years. We've had kids sign with Georgia Tech, University of Florida, University of Miami. Doesn't matter where they choose to go, they'll be accepted both for their academics and for their performance on the diamond. We have one kid that's considering the University of Virginia. They've offered him a scholarship this year.
What's his name?
Billy Bell. Matter of fact, they flew him up last weekend for a visit. And, here's one of the, I guess, more prestigious academic institutions in this United States. And here's one of our kids, being considered, they would love to have him, being offered a scholarship to go there.
What's his position?
He's a sophomore first baseman for us. He played second base for us last year as a freshman, but he has trouble throwing the ball. Doesn't have a lot of velocity on it. So he's a right-hander. Right. So we moved him to first base, but they really like him, and of course they like his grade.
What is he, a 3.0?
He's closer to like a 3.75, 3.8. Matter of fact, last year he received the President's Award at our first athletic banquet. There was a President's Award that was given for the athlete that performed both in the classroom and on the field of competition. And he was the recipient of the first President's Award of our 125 athletes that we have. He was the one that was nominated and unanimously selected. So it gave us a great deal of pleasure. The thing about Billy, last year he was a 4.0 student, and he hit over 400. So we said that was quite an accomplishment, the 4.0 400 together.
He's a strong, that's his suit, he's a strong power hitter.
Well, he's I don't know how you can describe Billy Bell. Of the 5 skills that we look for, he runs well, he hits with a little power. Doesn't necessarily mean he hits home runs now, because he's only about 5'10 and a half, 5'11, and he can catch the ball. The one skill and he does all 4 of those above average. The one skill that has trouble is throwing the ball with any velocity. He's had a couple operations, one between his junior and senior year in high school, after his freshman year with us. That's the one skill that is average or maybe even below average. But he's not below average in the classroom. He's a very bright individual.
That's what killed me. I didn't have any arm.
Doesn't have any arm.
Throw with my arms.
Coach Roy. LeWitt Lismore. Thank you very much.
Howard, I missed one of these 5 skills. Of course, running, hitting, fielding.
Can run, can hit with power.
Okay.
Catching the ball and throwing the ball.
That's 4 or 5.
Run, hit with power.
Oh, 2 hitting. Okay.
Yeah, hit with power. And how you determine if someone is a power hitter would be by their extra base hits, their home runs. Yeah, and that's why we say Billy is not big physically, but he would have to be considered maybe a power hitter, but not in the sense that how many home runs does he have? He has like 15 doubles, 5 triples, a couple home runs. About a third of his hits have been for extra base. And that's how you figure whether he's a power hitter or not.
A third.
A third of his total hits have been for extra bases.
Do you remember a student back in the past, maybe even in the 70s, 60s, whatever, really went on to theater or...
Oh, yes. There's a number of them. And we've gotten close to a great many of them in the 70s. Matter of fact, played on our first ball club, Gary Hannon. He's a CPA in Jacksonville now.
Hannon.
Correct. Gary is just a fine young man. And matter of fact, his wife was a cheerleader.
He played on what?
He played both basketball and baseball.
Played on your first baseball team?
First baseball team. Back in 1969, 1970. I'll take that. Right. School year of 69, 70 was the first team. This is going to be completing my 19th year with the baseball program.
He's a CPA now?
He's a CPA in Jacksonville.
Did he play university ball?
He went to Jacksonville University and completed his education there. I think he tried out but did not play. We've had outstanding kids. We've had them in our home. There's 4 kids that came from Connecticut by way of Stetson University in 1983. And they transferred from Stetson to our program, and they were like family. We had them in for Thanksgiving. 2 or 3 years they were in Jacksonville. They're back in Connecticut now, but we keep in touch, and we think of them like our kids. We've had a kid from Puerto Rico, Jose Nunoz, that could not get into Jacksonville University, and he came in, and just with his desire and his tenacity, it rubbed off on everybody else in '87, and we keep in touch with him. He's playing professional baseball. He's in the Dodgers organization. Our first All-American, Tony Newman from Andrew Jackson, came in freshman year, really got his ears pinned behind him, took his lumps. But his sophomore year, he was an All-American for us.
Tony Newman?
Newman.
N-E-W-M-A-N. Was your first All-American?
Right.
What year was that?
That was 1983. Left-handed pitcher, went on and pitched with Jacksonville University. In '87, we had an outstanding catcher, Rick Wilkins, that signed with Georgia Tech, but the Chicago Cubs, after our World Series, said there's no way they're going to let him get to Georgia Tech, and we understand he signed a bonus contract for about $140,000
with whom?
Chicago Cubs, and he's playing in their organization. Matter of fact, they project him as the 1991 opening day catcher for the Chicago Cubs.
Project him as
the opening day catcher for the Chicago Cubs in 1991.
How do you spell his last name?
W-I-L-K-I-N-S. Wilkins.
You say he was left-handed?
He was a left-handed hitter, yes. That's what they liked about him. Big, strong kid. We've been fortunate that we've had just outstanding kids. There's, I guess, one memory that really tells you something about our kids. In '87, when we got eliminated in the Junior College World Series, and you got to remember now, we play and work together, laugh together, lose together, won together. Several of our kids, and after we get through with our game, we'll come together and we'll tell them what they did right, what we can improve on, what mistakes we made. And of course, when we got eliminated, there was no more, tomorrows. That was it. And several of our kids became very emotional, and it was a very touching moment, I guess, in that we put our arms around them. And it was funny because how the sophomores just gravitated. There's, I remember Winston Relaford and Kenny Layfield. They could not come into the little team meeting that we had. They just broke down.
I need to ask you to keep spelling these.
No problem. R-E-L.
Oh, I'm sorry. R-E-L.
A-F-O-R-D.
Relaford?
Right.
And who was the other?
Kenny Layfield.
K-E.
N-N-Y. L-A-Y. F-I-E-L-D.
They did what? Now they broke down?
Yeah, they became very emotional. So we had to leave, and we went and put our arms around them.
Realizing that there wouldn't be.
Yeah, they said they couldn't believe it was over. We put our arms around them, and it was funny because then the other sophomores came over. And, it ended up where all of us were crying. It became very emotional.
Just like, it's not only losing, but it's even if they won.
Well, the camaraderie, they play so well, their teammates, not only on the field, but off the field, and they're like brothers. And that camaraderie or that chemistry, whatever we had developed that particular year, now they're going their own separate ways. And it was something that I would not forget, because they've given us so much. And even when we think about it, we become emotional because it was just a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Certainly understand that.
You remember the Mary Tyler Moore show, the last show that she had, and I don't know if you saw it or not, where they were ending and all of them came together and they all moved together, and that's the way we were. It's just spontaneous on something like that. But that's the type of kids that's very caring, very feeling, for each other, and just a worthwhile experience.
Howard, let me bring up something here. It may not seem to be important at all, but of course, baseball is one of my favorite sports. Unfortunately, I don't get out to see you much. I'd like to, but time. But I'm gonna try to get out and see some games. But anyway, you hear about baseball that compared to football and basketball, and I'm not so sure this is fair. I'm not saying I agree with it, but you hear that it's awfully time consuming, slow, that you have to walk in the ball game. Whereas football, basketball, bang, bang, bang.
There's action all the time.
Is that a problem, or, do you feel that as far as, I don't know really what my question is.
Well, baseball is a slow, hypnotic game. The thing about baseball is I like the subtleties of it, the changing, the strategy. Do you bunt? Do you hit and run? Do you swing away? Do you throw the right-hander against the left-hander, or vice versa? The subtleties of the game. I think it's more of a thinking game than anything else. In football, the actual time played in a college football game, I think, is 7.5 minutes. That means the snap of the ball, the running play or pass play, that's it. Not the time that keeps running while they're in the huddle or whatever like that. The actual playing. The nice thing I think about baseball versus football or basketball is you don't have to be, 6'12" and 350 pounds to be a baseball player. You don't have to be 7'12", to be a baseball player versus a basketball player. A lot of times physical is better when you talk about those two other sports. We have kids, matter of fact, I was thinking about it last night. We're not very big physically this year. We've got 2 kids that are 6 foot or over. The rest of them, I call sometimes our running runs, R&Rs, because we're 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". Yet they're able to play and participate. And the nice thing about it is they got the enthusiasm. Baseball, I agree with you, becomes dull when it drags and it has that hypnotic trance that keep going. There's no, time limit in terms of the clock goes off in basketball or in football. Here you got to play 9 innings and score's tied. You keep on going until someone's ahead and someone's behind out there. But if you play the game with enthusiasm, and you're having fun, I think that takes care of it. And of course, we always preach, if you can find someone who can throw the baseball across the plate, throw strikes, then you're going to be in the game. There's nothing worse than having pitchers not being able to throw strikes. It slows the whole game down. Everybody doesn't like that. The fielders don't like to play behind pitchers that can't throw strikes. The fielders like somebody that's going to be, throw strikes, that can throw maybe 8, 10 pitches an inning, and they're going to be sitting in the dugout because they're on their toes. They know something's going to be happening.
And pitchers who lack control and walk a lot of people slow the game up.
Definitely, definitely. You know, everybody, we always tell our kids, you got to hustle. That's the greatest attribute you have. You know, you can make up for a lot of negative things if you can make up for that if you hustle. You know, people overlook some things if you hustle on the field, off the field. You know, and that's what we try and keep them doing.
What are some of your coaching techniques?
Well, I guess I don't know if they're techniques. I guess I've got no magic formula. What I've done is taken from past coaches that I've attended clinics, conferences, brainstorm, doing a little brain picking with, taken and incorporated it into some of my philosophy, eliminated some of the things that I want. So there's no original ideas. But number one, I think it ought to be fun. I think kids ought to have fun doing something like that, especially for the amount of time that we spend in the fall and winter months. You know, picking a ball club, making sure that, you know, they're the right chemistry, that type thing. They ought to be able to have fun. They're not playing professionally. They're, you know, out there because it's still a game. And I got to look at it, you know, I'm probably the biggest kid out there. And I think the saying, and I think Roy Campanella said, there's a lot of little boy in everyone that has played baseball. And I'd have to agree with that. You know, there's still a lot of little boy in me and certainly in our players. But number one, what we try and do is try and make the game fun. Number two, we surround ourselves with very good people, academic-wise and athletic-wise. And number three, we try and motivate them, challenge them, where they want to come in every day and work hard to be the very best they can be.
How do you motivate them? How do you motivate a kid to, let's take Billy Bell. We don't have to keep mentioning it, but how do you work on his weak spot?
Well, we either use that as can be a detriment to him or can be something that will be positive. We say, Billy, you don't know if you can do it or not because of your arm. You lack velocity. And he recognizes that. I think being honest with him and saying, Billy, in the fall, you did not have the velocity or the quick hands probably to play second base or to turn to double play. Now, this is a kid that was a co-MVP player for us last year in '88, was a President Award winner, yet we're asking him, Billy, you might have to change a position for us because we've got another player in there. And when we sit down, we evaluate our players at the end of the fall. We'll sit down eyeball to eyeball, talk with them just like we are now. And we told Billy, we said, Billy, we weren't thinking about moving you to first base or DHing you, be the designated hitter. And Billy said, Coach, I've got no problem with that. I don't want to be the designated hitter. I want to play in the field. I said, I can appreciate that. So I think honesty with them, letting them know where they are, where they stand, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. Billy knows for his arm to improve, he's going to have to get out and throw maybe a little longer distance than what would be required from second base. Maybe he would have to throw from shortstop. And then again, we don't know if his arm would be that much better or not. Coach Roy?
Howard, I know you're busy.
No problem.
Let's wind up with looking at Howard Roey a little bit now. You can just a little bit about your personal history, and you teach along with.
Right.
Well, when did you come with Colin?
I came in the ground floor, opened up its doors. I'm one of the old fossils. I'm a charter member, right? I guess I was in the right spot at the right time because I taught in the Duval County school system at Landon Junior Senior High. And when Landon became a junior high with DuPont and combined to make Wolfson, I was fortunate enough that I got a graduate assistant, went back and got my master's at Appalachian in Boone, North Carolina. And the year after my assistantship, lo and behold, they're opening opening the doors to FCCJ or FJC at that time, and we got in on the ground floor there. So when we came in as an instructor, and we were asked if there was going to be any athletics, and they said in the near future. Well, the first year we were just a physical education instructor, health instructor. Second year we helped assist the basketball.
Say we, just you and Lyndall McCurley.
Right. Yeah. And we helped out assisting basketball, and we started the golf team. And I was the golf coach. And that was great.
That was the first year?
That was the second year. I think we had basketball and golf. Those were the two sports. And I think, and I don't know if Larry came the second year or third year, and we started the cross country also, and track program. But in those first 2 or 3 years, there was virtually no athletics or very few athletic teams. And
just had golf and what?
Basketball and cross country. And then in 1969, Ish Brandt became our first athletic director. And of course, I knew Ish from being in the school system, and he was a baseball man also. And that's where we started baseball. And I've got to give credit to Ish Brandt for getting us off the ground baseball-wise. Had no scholarships the first year and played about 25 ball games with people that, were in our student body, did not go out and recruit, but at least it was a step in the right direction.
So Ish, who was athletic director in '69, got you off the ground in baseball-wise.
Right.
And you started playing.
We played the other community colleges that were around the school year 69-70. 70 was our first team. But it was school year 69-70. That was our first team. And we played the community colleges, St. John's, Daytona, Seminole, the teams that make up our Mid-Florida Conference right now, and some other teams. And then the second year, 1970-71, we were able to go out and give some partial scholarships. I think Ish got us like 3 or 4 tuition and book things. And again, we were able to get several of the more outstanding players and bring them in. And that second year of baseball, we were going to our state junior college tournament. We kept telling people Jacksonville is a baseball hotbed. You always hear and read in the paper that how many football players sign to go to college and football this and football that. And we're saying as many baseball players sign scholarships, if not more, than football player out of the Florida First Coast area. So we started there, and of course, that was our meager beginning.
And then you've been teaching all along, right?
I've been teaching. Of course, we're hired as instructors and then dash coaches. It really wasn't until, I guess, 1982, 83 when Ernie came in, Ernie Romine, who became our athletic director. He became our second athletic director, matter of fact. And with him, our program really has evolved where it is nationally recognized, not only for our baseball, but for our basketball. When we compete, we're competing on a state and national level. We've got the recognition. People know our commitment to excellence, both academic-wise and athletic-wise. And that's what we've had that quest for excellence. And that's why when we first started the interview, I said, personally, I thought my program in the state of Florida was the program of the 80s, because that quest for excellence and what we have done is just what we've put our minds to do, and it has been an excellent program, both academic-wise and athletic-wise. I don't think there's any other community college, or maybe some small 4-year colleges or smaller conferences, can match what we've done, both academic and athletic-wise. So we're very proud of the tradition that we've started and we've upheld, and hopefully we're going into the decade of the 90s. the quest for excellence is even going to be better.
Howard, I wish I could talk on. I've got to get back again.
No problem. No problem.
Good.
I hope that's a good beginning for you.
This is some jewels of information here.